mile in fog patches and showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dreamer.
Hey, Sid here. Today is Tuesday. Yeah, I guess it's Tuesday now, May 17th. It's been a little bit since I did a video, and today I'm going to do one on the AT&T building in New York City. I had not even heard about this building until not that long ago. I guess even Tom Hanks has made comments about this building because it's just so crazy. It is, start off with some basic information about it first. It's located at 33 Thomas Street, which is in Tribeca in Lower Manhattan in New York City. And one thing I did learn, and I've been to New York once for a long weekend. I've flown through there. I don't even think I've flown through there besides the one time I went there. Tribeca stands for Triangle Below Canal Street. And also, too, another thing I learned, although it has nothing to do with the video, Soho stands for south of Houston. But anyway, so the building is located in Tribeca, and it's between Thomas Street and Worth Street. It's an example of what's called Brutalist architectural style. Construction began in 1969, ended somewhere in 1974. It's 550 feet tall, has 29 floors, has 3 sub-basements also. It's owned by AT&T, and the architect on the project was John Carl Warnke. So the biggest thing that most people notice, aside from, well, in large part with the architecture, is that has no windows, okay, which is very weird. I mean, what building doesn't have windows, right? And just the architectural style of the building makes it look very, like it's like, I don't know, it's like a fortified kind of bunker almost, I guess. Which, you know, considering what the building was built to withstand and to house, makes sense. The building, of course, like I said, it's the AT&T building, and it says AT&T on the outside of the building. It's a telephone exchange or wire sender. It's basically a long distance switchboard hub for AT&T. This it's used for the long-winded version is it has 3 major 4E switches used for long-distance telephony, and also other switches used for competitive local exchange carrier services, which are carriers that compete with the already established carriers, blah, blah, blah. But it's a long-distance switchboard hub, okay? It's the world's largest center for processing long-distance phone calls, operated by New York Telephone Company, which is a subsidiary of AT&T. And inside 33 Thomas Street, there's an international gateway switch. This routes phone calls between the U.S. and countries around the world. It's speculated to be a location used by NSA for controversial surveillance programs, which we've heard a lot of in the last 20 or so years, 20 plus years, especially after the Patriot Act and so on. Let's see, it targets communication from the UN, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, at least 38 countries, including Germany, Japan, and France. And it's widely accepted that AT&T cooperates very readily with the NSA, but it isn't really known exactly in what capacity, obviously, because it's the NSA that they're helping and working with and so on. John Carl Warnke was hired in the mid-60s to work on this Project X, which is what it was called at the time, a skyscraper in the middle of what ultimately would be in the middle of New York City that could, 1, withstand a nuclear attack, 2, work as a fallout shelter, and 3, protect a major telecom company so they could maintain communications in the event of a nuclear war. The exterior of the building is made of this red Swedish granite, which is flame retardant and very durable. And the building is also not illuminated, which, I mean, I guess most buildings in New York would have some sort of illumination around them. This doesn't have any, and I've, like I said, I've never been there, but from what I've heard, it's kind of obvious, I guess, that there's no illumination for this building. And not having any windows. You know, if you see big cities from a distance and buildings with windows in it at night, you're always going to see the windows with the lights. Lights on in some areas, lights off in other areas. You're not going to get that because there are no windows. The choice to not have windows was in part to help control the temperature in the building. It's like if you've ever worked, we all deal with computers, the CPUs, we've got game consoles, we've got, VCRs, DVD players, and things like that, especially things that run all the time, will tend to generate heat. So you need to be able to keep these integral machines in a cool environment and be able to protect it from things like heat and the fact that windows, even good windows, you're still not going to be able to completely, I guess, not get rid of things that would, the temperature changes and things like that. You're not going to be able to really control the atmosphere it's in completely with having windows. So, therefore, no windows. That just made the ultimate principle behind what they were needing to use the building for. It just made sense, although it looks funny. Let's see, there was an incident in 1991 where phone service went down for like 5 million calls couldn't go through because this is like the world's largest long distance hub, like anywhere. Okay, so, and because of that, the New York Times ended up doing an investigation and revealed in 1994 a bunch of information that they found out that I've seen where it says more than 170 million. I saw somewhere where it said more than 175 million calls are routed through this building on a daily basis. It's AT&T's giant worldwide intelligent network. There are at least, like I said earlier, 3 of these 4 ESS switches, which are used to route calls. The first 2, one handles domestic long distance and the other is an international gateway. It is also involved in a program called Skid Row, which focuses on interception of satellite communications. This building is the only location in New York City where AT&T has an FCC license for satellite dishes. So it has satellite dishes so it can intercept satellite communications. Okay, and in 2013, of course, most everyone should be familiar with Edward Snowden and his leak of all the information that he came across. And as part of, within the information that was leaked, they were able to piece together by knowing the location of this building, knowing certain things about this building, and being able to piece together when they would refer to, because of course it's, government, in government circles, government, super hush-hush, super secret stuff, you're going to have these code names and things like that. So they're not going to say, the AT&T building at 33 Thomas Street. They're going to say Titan Point, which is one of the names that is used for this building, I guess, in this, super secret hush-hush, information that Snowden was able to release when he in part as part of that information that he released. That the building was called. Let's see. As that. Basically the leak said that the NSA was in collaboration with a telecommunications company based in the U.S., codenamed Lithium. So, of course, they're not going to say AT&T. The New York Times found out later that Lithium was AT&T. And once you know, there was another document citing the existence of a huge skyscraper without windows in a major city that housed Lithium. Codename Lithium. It went on to say that it needed to stay a secret because the NSA was using it as a way to collect millions and millions of metadata on who, when, where, what, and of who was calling who on Americans and foreigners, and God knows how many other things. So it was one of those things where there was enough information listed that it basically it may not have said specifically 33 Thomas Street, but okay, that's pretty much, they figured that's got to be it. Hey, a little bit of information I forgot to add in earlier when I was doing this, about the basement levels of the building at the AT&T building. There's 3 levels of basements, and they have 250 gallons of fuel ready in case of a nuclear war. And it can also house 1,500 people, even has a full cafeteria. And which, okay, there's, they've got, all this stuff down there, the ability for the at least 1,500 people to survive for at least 2 weeks. Now, of course, the 1,500 people that end up in there, are going to be on a pretty short list of people. So, I mean, this isn't just going to be, me, you, then our next door neighbors, stuff like that. It's going to be, people that are high up on the list and of some sort of list that are, some pretty important people. It's not going to be normal people like you and me. So I guess, I'm sure too going to be people that are going to be needed to help run things in case of a, nuclear war or just some sort of monster, massive catastrophe of whatever sort. So, like I said, they assume that this is the case, and and also the FBI building, is like across the street, like down the street, like a block. I mean, like you can see it, like you can walk from it very easily. And that's where the NSA agents, I guess, come from the FBI building to the AT&T building, and there's like very specific ways that they have to come to the building, which is crazy. They have to make sure that they're not being followed and tracked and all that kind of stuff. So they would have to get a car through the FBI. It's like a cover vehicle, and they can't wear anything nothing that says NSA. So no badges, nothing with NSA insignias, nothing. And so they have to go through this very specific, get this car, like if they're having to take, equipment or something. And then the front door, you go up to the front door and there's like this buzzer intercom system. And so you have to be buzzed in. And there's this huge lobby that you walk into, and this huge desk in the lobby. And there's a person at the lobby, and things you have to sign to be able to get into the building. And then you have to sit down there and wait for somebody to come get you and be escorted to whatever area you're going to. And there's in some of the articles I read, people talking about back in this particular year, this person went into the building for this one very specific thing, and what their experience was like. So there's a few anecdotal stories floating around from a long time ago, people that claim that they were in the building for various reasons and so on. And then there's a number of videos that show also the area right in there, and I'll have a few pictures of the AT&T building or Titan Point, and then also the FBI building that's down the street also. I wish I was close enough that I could go down there and take, like, you know, just take my own video of the area and stuff like that, because it looks really cool. But, you know, of course, there's other videos out there where people actually physically go to the site and you can actually see it, at least in video form anyway. And there's another building that's right nearby that also that I kind of think I may or may not do a video on it also. It just seemed kind of interesting. There's this building called the Jenga Building, because it looks like it's got all these parts that like stick out the sides that make it look like the Jenga game. Just another fine example of some of the weird and interesting architecture that you have in New York City. Okay, well, and that basically is predominantly it about the AT&T Titan Point building in New York City. And if anybody has any suggestions, any videos that they'd like to see me do on a particular subject or topic, you know, of course, put it down in the comments for me. I'm always open to ideas and stuff like that. And you know, I do things that I think are interesting to me, but if there's things that I'm not always going to come across that might be of interest to other people as well, so just let me know. I don't know everything. I don't come across everything. So, all right, well, that's going to be it for today. And I also coming up may have a couple of more craft sort of videos that I may do. I found some things that I want to work on, and a couple of things that I think are maybe a little, I'd like to see how they work out, and that other people might find interesting if it does work well. So be on the lookout for that too. And I hope everybody's enjoying their summers and getting good weather. We've been getting our typical southern rain and storms and stuff like that lately, and it's getting hot and humid. So I'm ready for I don't know, I won't say I'm ready for winter again, but I'm already almost kind of over the heat. So anyway, we'll talk at you later, and thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching, and remember, as always, to like and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. We'll talk at you later. Bye.